Afternoon, Judge. My name is Casey Clark, Casey Clark.
Mr. Clark, how are you currently employed?
I am a realtor in Michigan.
Okay. In 2022, how are you employed?
I was a police officer with the City of Raleigh.
And how long had you been with the City of Raleigh?
At that point, it was a little over 10 years.
And what was your role with the City of Raleigh Police Department at that time?
I was on the Selective Enforcement Unit.
What is the Selective Enforcement Unit?
That is the city's version of SWAT.
And can you describe for us how you go about getting on that unit, and if you have specialized training or things like that?
Yes, sir. You have to have at least 6 years. You have to be a you have to be a master officer, so 4 years of experience to try out. During the tryout, there's very physical, demanding. There's shooting involved. You have to be accurate. You have a oral interview with the command staff and the supervisors of the Selective Enforcement Unit, and then you have to be selected. You have a psych eval, and that's it.
Okay. So you got to go through a lot to get on that.
Yes, sir.
And is that something that you wanted to do your career?
Yes, sir. That was my entire intent, was to become a member of the Selective Enforcement Unit.
And you were able to accomplish that?
Yes, sir.
Before you did that, you were a line officer or anything else in the police department?
I was on a district-wide specialized unit prior to that line, then the specialized unit for the Southwest District, where we were we targeted gang members, drug dealers, car theft, a lot of investigative work, and dealing with community-specific problems.
When did you stop being a police officer?
I was no longer employed by the Raleigh Police Department June 1st of 2024.
And what was the reason for your separation of employment?
I was shot in the knee and unable to return.
So medically you were unable to perform that?
Yes, sir.
As a part of your employment with the SEU, or the Selective Enforcement Unit with the Raleigh Police Department, did you get involved in the investigation of the spree shooting or mass shooting reports that were happening in the Hedingham neighborhood on October the 13th of 2022?
Yes, sir.
What was your role in that October investigation?
I had worked that morning, worked the entire shift, then was off. Was at a doctor's appointment, and then started getting the notifications of this. Spoke with a detective, former member of the SCU, and then I responded in.
So you had already worked a shift?
Yes, sir.
You were off and gone to a doctor's appointment, but you decided to go back in?
Yes, sir.
And why did you decide to go back in and get involved in this?
Because this was an all hands on deck. This is an active shooter that was not located. Last I had heard, he was running through the woods with a long gun and camo. That is a clear SCU response.
And so when you re-engaged with your employment, you went back to work
Yes,
that
sir.
day. Where did you go? What did you do upon first getting involved?
I went home. I changed back out. I waited for my wife to get home. She was picking up the kid. Said goodbye, drove in. Earlier that day, we had executed a search warrant for a child sex predator. I think it was about 2 miles away from the scene. So, speaking with other members of my team that was off, that was returning in as well, we made the logical conclusion that that seemed like the direction he was heading. So we wanted to go to that location, get ready, and kind of be that blocking force. We knew there was already Team 2 was in. We knew they were responding. They were going to be tracking him from where they last saw him. We were going to try to guess to jump the track and be that stopping force for when he would run into us.
So there was another SEU team that was already involved, is that right?
Correct.
And you and your group met back up at this place that you were familiar with.
Yes, sir.
And it was kind of ahead of where you thought the person may be going?
Correct. That seemed to be the direction the track was taking.
Okay. And so when you did that, did you meet up with your other teammates there?
I did, yes, sir.
Once you guys got together and got situated, what was the next thing that you all went about doing?
We split up into two groups. There was only, I think, maybe 5 or 6 of us that had made it there at that point. We split into 2 groups, and we kind of divided in certain areas, and were waiting as a perimeter unit until there was further to direct our position.
At some point, was there somewhere for you to go?
Yes. Over the radio, we heard that a passerby had stopped, spoken with, I believe, a trooper, who relayed that she saw a young white male in camo carrying a long gun and backpack had just crossed the road close to where we were. So we responded there, waited for K9, and Wake County K9 arrived, and we began a track.
So a witness had seen somebody cross a road. Did they tell you a direction where that person had gone, or were you informed of a direction where that person had gone?
I was informed they crossed the road. I did not have a specific direction other than it was crossed the road and into these woods.
Okay, so another wooded area.
Correct.
Can you describe that wooded area, how dense it was, what the terrain was kind of like?
It was pretty dense. It was fall time, so there was leaves on the ground. It was just a 2-lane road, woods on either side. You can't see very far into them. You had to go up a little hill to begin, and hilly and a lot of woods, but I didn't see a house.
Okay. And did you go into those woods?
I did.
And you said there was a K9 that was tracking?
Correct.
Did the group of you travel with that K9?
Yes, sir.
And tell us what happened with the K9 track, if you can.
We followed along with the K9. There were, I think, several, maybe 4 or 5 SCU officers that were on this specific track, and a few deputies. I think Highway Patrol was with us as well. We tracked for a long time. We encountered a hunting blind. Myself and a couple SCU guys cleared that.
When you say clear, what do you mean?
We searched it, made sure that he was not holed up in this hunting blind. We then continued on with the track. There was a helicopter overhead, so it made it very difficult to hear. And we continued to the track until we got to a fence line that had a house in the distance and then 2 outbuildings.
Now, how are you dressed? Are you in a uniform at this time?
I was in a uniform with my plate carrier, helmet, night vision, and rifle.
When you say plate carrier, is that an armor?
That's an exterior armor that's ballistic rated for rifle rounds.
Is it daylight at this time?
It's getting dusk.
So when you get to this fence, what's the kind of calculus that you do, and what decisions do you make?
We stop momentarily there, verify to see whether or not the dog is going to go clear these outbuildings or we are going to. The decision was made that we would push up. SCU would clear the buildings. Myself, Officer Garner, and Sergeant Smithy cleared the initial building, pushed through, cleared the building. I was covering long to the right while they were clearing to the right or to the left. You can see most of the other building that's kind of staggered, where one ends, the next one begins, but across a 30-yard or so little alley. You can see most of that, but there was still a garage door that was down, and then the back corner there that we could not see, that we were going to have to clear.
So let me ask you this. So you guys jumped that fence, and there's a building that's closest to you?
Correct.
And that's the building that you kind of cleared?
Correct. We see the back side of that, so we had to go around, clear that way. And then there was a second building staggered off to a little further away.
So there's a grassy area in between,
yes,
and then another building staggered that would be across from you?
Correct.
Okay. And so you clear this building to the left, and you're standing in the middle area?
Standing closer to the building we just cleared, but we stopped at the edge of that, and I'm facing that direction. That's my zone of cover to that point.
Why are you doing that?
The 2 that cleared that building. We're on the inside, and they were taking care of that. My entire responsibility is making sure that there's nothing out there that would be a threat to us. And I'm imagining long gun camo. I expected that this would be a good spot for him to be holed up and taking aim at us.
You said it was getting dark. Are you able to see clearly?
It's dusk, so you can see, but there was a flashlight that swept across that opening, which made it a little easier to see in there. But it's at that point of losing visibility.
Okay. And while you're standing there providing this cover, what happens next?
I hear a gunshot, and I feel what felt like a train going through my knee. Drops me to the ground.
When that happens, what do you do?
I sit up. I'm looking for the threat. Point my gun in that direction, but I'm looking for the threat. I don't fire because I know that the moment I start firing, I'm not going to be able to see any movement. I'm expecting to be looking for a face since he's in camo.
What about your other teammates? Do they return fire?
They do.
And does anybody help you when you go down?
They do.
What happens?
Officer Martin grabs me from my plate carrier and drags me behind the shed.
When you're back there, what happens?
He applies a tourniquet.
Were you able to see anybody ever?
No, sir.
And when I say that, anybody ever that fired at you?
Correct. I did not see a person nor a flash.
And you say they applied a tourniquet to you?
Yes, sir.
And do you stay at that location behind the shed, or what happens with you?
After the tourniquet is applied, I am then assisted out of the area and driven to the hospital.
And when you get to the hospital, can you tell us what, if anything, happens and what you find out?
They evaluate my knee. They take imaging and make the determination that they're not going to perform surgery at this time, bandage it up, and I am released.
Tell me about what injury you suffered.
I suffered a gunshot pellet to the knee, or to the top of my tibia. Entered in on the side of the knee, hit the tibia, and is lodged there now.
As a result of that injury, tell us what kind of pain or issues that you deal with because of that.
The primary issue that I have is that my knee will give out on me without any warning. Standing, walking, I might just drop. The pain I'm feeling is the constant pain is the feeling of a electricity going across this area where I was shot. It feels similar to like a TENS unit constantly on. And then in addition to that, it will feel like someone's drilling into my bone.
I saw, and I could be wrong, but I saw when you sat down, you kind of grimaced. Was that related to this, or did you bang your leg when you sat down?
This is related to the gunshot.
Okay.
It's something I live with.
It's something you live with. And you said that as a result of this, you no longer got to be a police officer.
Yes, sir.
How did that affect you?
That was hard. That was my entire life goal, was to be on the SWAT team. That was my dream. I was 3 years in, so just started my career with it. It was difficult. That was my family, and that was a lot.
So you've given that up, not voluntarily.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I guess, other than what you've just told us, how has this affected you?
It's affected my family a lot. It's my wife specifically has a lot of trauma from this. Excuse me.
Take your time.
She's constantly, instead of the happy-go-lucky woman that I married, where she was able to walk down the street, not stressed, now she evaluates everyone as a threat. She has a lot more fear than she used to. My son's now asking me, every time I reach for my leg, is that because you were shot? Now I have to explain. Eventually, I haven't explained to him what happened. but that's something I'm going to have to live with. Of it's going to come up. It's public record. The video of me getting shot is on YouTube.
How old is your son?
He is 4 now. Just walking through woods used to be enjoyable to me. It was pleasant, peaceful. Now I'm evaluating, looking for a threat, looking for the shooter that's in the woods. Makes no sense, but that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Now you talked a little bit about there being a video of this on the internet. Was that because you had on body-worn camera?
Yes, sir.
And did it capture the events of you getting shot?
It did.
Your Honor, at this time the state would seek to admit State's Exhibit Number 9, which is the body-worn camera for Officer Clark.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
It's allowed.
And we would ask to publish it on the screen.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes. Are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold up, Dave. Dave. Ladder up the back. K9 is going to be on some houses. Just worry about cramping up at that point. Hey, Sergeant. What's up?
Slow it down so we can get to you. You're by yourself. Shut up. Jeez. Wake K9 is tracking west towards some garages and a house, most likely off of Chocolate Club Drive. I'm far, right. Those lights are on. Oh, fuck! Come here! Come here! Where's the shot from? Alright, that way. Back further, Where's he hit? Right knee. Alright, put his tourniquet on. Get his tourniquet on the right knee. Right knee. It looks like it's straight that way. You with me? Alright. It's not tight, Okay. Pull his main leg up real quick. Do you need anywhere else? Knee is the only thing I know of. Alright. Let me get you two. We're going to start working with him, get the traction out, pull him a little bit further back. Casey, how are you doing? I'm nauseous, but I'm good. You're going to be alright, brother. I'm good. Right foot, hold there. I don't know you're tired enough yet. 360! Tighten that one up. Put this one on. Above it. Tighten that second down. It does not feel tight at all. Hey. It's just my knee, it's fine.
Is the wound below this?
It feels like my kneecap, lower kneecap. It might have been a ricochet because it didn't feel like it was that big.
How's this feel?
It's, not as tight as I remember one. Do me a favor, put one more.
Here, we got Mark. Are you resetting? Here's what we're gonna do. Y'all are gonna pull him. While they're taking him, probably real quick.
Hey, if someone just gets me up to my feet, I can go on one leg. We're just chilling.
You got a tourniquet on? Put something on. You need a card? I got one if you need it. Down. Good? You help yourself, man?
Good. Yep.
Where were you at? Where were you at?
I was standing about 50 feet at a 45-degree angle from this, and it looked like it was coming directed that way.
Casey, your tourniquet. The second one.
Yep.
Good.
The it feels pretty tight now. The knees can be tighter.
Me and State are good. Raleigh officer shot. We're going to get the knee back to him. Here, take him. I'm staying. Hey, I'm going to have this phone. Take it off.
Here, stop. Underneath my arms, my armpit, and stand me up.
Ready?
Yep. Yep.
Reputable.
Down that way so we're not standing. Yep. Can we cut right and get into the woods? Hey, go across, let me use the fence. Go down there. Yep.
What's the blue light?
Go right. Get further away from the guy. We're moving pretty slow. No, stay with us. You're the only lethal. Hey, stay with us. You're lethal right now. No one else is.
Did you see him in the garage or no? Okay. We're trying to figure that out. I don't want to double back on us. I was laying down covering the woods.
Yeah. I didn't see him. I never saw him.
I didn't either, man. Fuck. I just started fucking.
Fuck you. Doesn't feel like he. There's an actual bullet. Not that I know what that is. That way! Cover that way! Yeah! I'm good. I'm good. 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 That way! You might be going towards there. They got him pretty much stuck.
We don't know if he's in the woods or in the building. Next feet.
I'm good. Relax, I got this.
Good.
I got this.
Good.
I'm good. Relax. We're good. Don't hit anyone. Don't Alright, we're good. Merely a flesh wound.
Casey, it wasn't just merely a flesh wound, was it?
No, sir.
Okay. I want to ask you a couple things really quickly after watching that video. I mean, you guys are walking through those woods for about 15 minutes before you get to the fence line. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
At that point in time, do you know where this person is?
Not a clue.
And there were a lot of trees and brush. In your mind, could he have been anywhere out there?
He could have been anywhere. Yes.
And so you guys are following this canine track, but you kind of happen upon this building, and that's where you encountered him.
Correct. We were following the canine track. I knew we were following him. There wasn't a doubt in my mind with the description we got of the track we started, that and the way the canine was pulling was consistent with other tracks I've been on. I knew we were following someone, and the only logical person it would be Austin.
Okay. And you were kind of given instructions when you were being escorted to safety about getting in the wood line. Why were you trying to get over there at that point?
Because I knew the direction I was shot from, and we were walking into the open of where I knew where the bullet had come from. So I was trying to get further away and keeping the building that we had used for cover previously as cover and concealment to get us out of there.
Okay. Now you say now you live in Michigan, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've traveled all this way to be here for this hearing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything that you would like to tell the judge from your perspective about what you would like to see happen at the end of this hearing?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Judge.
Yes.
I wanted to point out that this is what a 15-year-old could do with minimal life experience and ability. I don't want to see what a grown adult that had decades of time to plan the next assault. I am asking you to give him life without parole.
Thanks. Case, is there anything else you want the court to know?
No, sir.
Thanks for being here. No further questions.
Thank you.
Questions?
Very briefly, is it Officer Clark?
Just Casey Clark now.
All right, Mr. Clark. It sounds like you had extensive training. Is that right?
Yes.
But it's still a high adrenaline job. Is that right?
Yes.
Your training gets you through that. Right?
Correct.
But before you were injured, going through those woods, you were walking with a purpose, right?
Correct.
And I could hear you breathing heavy at points, right?
Correct.
You and the other officers were sort of stating directions really strongly, right?
Correct.
And that's that adrenaline of this situation, right?
No, that's the training. We want to be very clear. I think there's 8 to 10 people with us, all spread out. We want to make sure that it is clear and concise so that everyone hears it.
It seems like everybody is trying to make sure that eyes are everywhere, right?
Correct.
There's a clear awareness of the potential danger, is that right?
Correct.
And that's because of the situation that you're in, right?
Correct.
No further questions.
Thank you. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Very much. We'll go ahead and recess for lunch and resume at 2:30.
Yes, Your Honor. Superior Court being recessed to 14:30 hours, 2:30 p.m.